If you depend on Social Security now or expect to rely on it in the future, what's about to happen on August 14th is more than just a date on the calendar. It's a reminder of why this program remains one of the most reliable lifelines in American history and why the next decade could determine how secure that lifeline really is for you and millions of others. In a moment, I'm going to walk you through exactly what's at stake, the real numbers behind Social Security's finances, what lawmakers are likely to do when things get tight, and how all of this could affect your benefits. Stick with me until the end, because I'll also share the most probable outcome when the trust fund runs low, and how you can position yourself now so that your income in retirement stays steady no matter what Congress decides. The people who need this information most are the 73 plus million Americans currently receiving Social Security benefits, and the tens of millions more who are within a decade of retirement age. These are workers, retirees, disabled Americans, survivors, and their families. People who depend on those checks to cover basic needs, pay bills, and stay independent. If that's you, or will be you, knowing the facts about how the program operates and the political realities shaping its future could mean the difference between peace of mind and scrambling to make ends meet. Here's the promise I'll make you right now. By the time you finish this, you'll understand exactly why Social Security is still rock solid after 90 years, what the actual financial challenges look like, why the scary "it's going bankrupt" headlines are misleading, and the most realistic path forward for keeping your benefits secure. In other words, you'll leave with clarity instead of fear. Before we dive deep, I want to urge you to do something simple if you're on Medicare or will be soon. Get your coverage reviewed now, before annual enrollment season swamps every phone line in the country. The reason is straightforward. Plans change, your health needs change, and the right adjustments could save you hundreds or even thousands of dollars a year. There's a team of licensed advisors who do these reviews for free, no strings attached, and they're helping people lock in better coverage right now while the lines are still short. Waiting until October means competing with 70 million other people for a callback. I'll come back to this at the end, but I want you to have that in the back of your mind. Now, August 14th marks the 90th anniversary of the Social Security Act, signed into law in 1935. 90 years without missing a scheduled payment. That's a perfect record through wars, recessions, political gridlock, inflation spikes, and even a global pandemic. Every single month, over $120 billion goes out to beneficiaries, totaling more than $1.5 trillion this year alone. For scale, that's larger than the GDP of most countries. It's not just a number, it's the rent, groceries, medical bills, and daily essentials for more than 1 in 5 Americans. Despite this, Social Security has been surrounded for decades by rumors that it's on the brink of collapse. Some of you have been hearing it won't be there for you since the 1980s or earlier. But here's the reality. The system does face a funding gap in the 2030s if Congress does nothing. But going bankrupt is not what will happen. The Social Security Board of Trustees projects that the Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund could be depleted around 2033. If nothing changes, benefits would still be paid from incoming payroll taxes, covering roughly 77 to 80% of scheduled amounts. That's not ideal, but it's far from zero. Experts agree the likeliest outcome is that Congress will step in before that happens. Historically, lawmakers act when the problem is imminent, not decades away. Based on past patterns, the fix could happen within a year or two of the projected shortfall, and it will likely be a combination of measures: additional revenue, adjustments to benefits, or a cash infusion from the federal government. One plausible scenario is that the Treasury or Federal Reserve simply injects trillions into the program, effectively keeping benefits whole without forcing sudden, drastic cuts. Why does this matter to you now? Because understanding the real numbers helps you make informed financial decisions instead of reacting to panic. For example, you might hear talk of raising the full retirement age, increasing payroll tax caps, or even introducing a new funding stream. None of these options will eliminate benefits for current recipients. Changes are usually phased in over decades, giving people time to adjust. Here's where the human side comes in. For millions, Social Security is the single largest or only source of retirement income. A reduction of even 20% would mean the difference between paying for prescriptions or skipping doses, between staying in your home or moving in with family. That's why this conversation is not just about numbers. It's about dignity and stability for older Americans, widows, people with disabilities, and children receiving survivor benefits. One common misconception is that Congress could simply let it fail. In reality, that would be political suicide. Seniors are the most reliable voting bloc in the country, and any party that allowed benefits to collapse would face overwhelming backlash. Another misconception is that printing money to fund Social Security would automatically trigger runaway inflation. While excessive money creation can be inflationary, targeted injections, especially when replacing existing economic activity rather than adding to it, do not automatically cause the kind of spiraling prices people fear. If we break down the cause and effect chain, it looks like this. Demographics are shifting, meaning more retirees are drawing benefits while proportionally fewer workers are paying into the system. The trust fund was built up over decades to smooth out this imbalance, but as it's drawn down, the annual gap between inflows and outflows will grow. Without adjustments, the reserve runs out, and benefits revert to the amount that can be paid from payroll taxes alone. That's the shortfall people talk about. The fix? Either increase revenue, decrease payouts, or bridge the gap with external funding. Looking ahead, the most likely forecast is a short-term burst of political drama as the depletion date approaches. Headlines, urgent hearings, last-minute proposals. But the end result will be that benefits continue because the alternative is politically untenable. There's also a possibility that the system evolves into something broader decades from now, like a guaranteed basic income for all adults. That's speculation, but it reflects a trend towards simplifying benefit programs into direct payments. If that ever happens, it would be gradual and long-term, not an overnight replacement. So here are your key takeaways. Social Security turns 90 this month with a perfect record of paying benefits. The trust fund faces depletion in about 8 years, but that does not mean the program disappears. Far from it. Even in a worst-case scenario, the majority of benefits would still be paid, and political reality makes full inaction highly unlikely. For your own financial planning, focus on diversification. Don't rely solely on Social Security, but don't buy into the myth that it's doomed either. And circling back to Medicare, because healthcare is the other major pillar of a secure retirement, don't wait until enrollment season to review your plan. The advisors I mentioned earlier are already helping people save thousands and improve their coverage without spending a dime on the consultation. Call them now while it's quiet, and you'll be first in line when the rush hits. It costs nothing, but it could mean better doctors in network, lower prescription costs, and real breathing room in your budget. If you found this breakdown valuable, share it with friends, family, and neighbors, especially those who are nervous about Social Security's future. The more people understand the facts, the harder it becomes for fear to drive the conversation. Subscribe if you want to stay ahead of the headlines. Hit the like button to tell the algorithm this information matters, and check the description for links to more in-depth videos. Social Security has been here for 90 years. With the right actions, it will be here for you too.